Cornering? All right, now, before I click on cornering, complex or simple technique?
Complex.
Complex. Okay? So trying to, this was the one that I put the most thought into, because to take cornering and reduce it to, you know, a 6x8 card is a hard thing to do. So I thought about many different ways to do this one, and I have just these little symbols that tell you what to do at different places. So there's cornering left and right, but what are some truths about cornering?
Lots of people get off.
Yes, if you're going to crash on a motorcycle and hurt yourself or hurt your bike, and there's no one else involved, it's probably here. This is probably where it's going to happen to you.
It's the epicenter of anal pucker.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. Now I'll ask you this.
Pucker point?
Those who've been riding for quite a long time, have you ever felt really good in a corner? Felt good?
Yeah.
Have you ever had any that you didn't like it? It did not feel good?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think you'll ever have other joyful ones and other terrifying ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fact of riding.
If you're not pushing it, you're not getting any better at it.
Well,
So
that's also true. Now, again, these cards, we were talking a little bit about some advanced techniques, and these cards really focus more on basic technique that you can take very, very far. And yes, can you corner differently? Sure. But we do know for sure that you really don't want to break or roll off in a corner. Now, some people trail break, it's an advanced thing, and if you want to be like if you're here now, and you want to be like here, then maybe consider breaking in a corner. But if you're here now, and you want to get here, hold off on the brakes for a while. Take a class in the corner, okay? Because the rear brake is a nice tool in a bag for the road rider. If you're a racer, you'll probably use it every corner. Another thing, I kind of took this, and it's another, you want to think what? In what?
Slow.
In slow, out, fast. What is it? Twist of the wrist.
Once the throttle is...
He talks about you will never. He's a racer, Keith Code. He says you will never. You can't beat someone by charging a corner too fast, slowing up to come out. Now, if you want to pass someone, different story. Again, racing, not road technique. So if Rossi wants to get around someone, he might brake later to get around someone who's too terrified to brake later, and then he advances a position. Who are you trying to beat out there on the roads?
cops.
Hopefully nobody. Okay? But you want to beat the road, right? So the general concept then is you have to slow. And I have the benefit of being able to change these things as I go through and add to them. I think I even got the first batch and I gave them a second one. But what's nice is every time I print a new printing, I make a change or two that I like better. So we can slow a couple different ways. So we're heading straight into the corner. All right? You can use your brakes to slow. You can do a smooth what? Smooth downshift. Or even a smooth what?
Roll off.
Smooth roll off.
Deceleration.
Because when I ride and I reflect on my cards, I think, am I doing exactly what is here? No. I'll say sometimes I just do a smooth roll off. I don't want people to think they have to downshift or brake. So remember, you're just going to scrub off some speed a little bit. But once you get at the entry point, where are you looking? For your exit. And can you see it? Not always. So you're going to press that way. See how we're going to press that handlebar. And when I took the class 10 years ago, one of my problems was, and someone who knew riding had to tell me this. I was pressing, but I was doing this. I'm pressing, and I'm like, hey, in the class they said, just press those bars, man. I'll go around that corner. But the bike was too much this way, and I was kind of like doing a supermoto sliding type thing. And he said, no, you have to lean with the bike. New riders are a little scared maybe too, right? So what this is here, you want to lean with that motorcycle. Maybe even a little bit inside of it. So don't be afraid to lean with it, because the motorcycle, when you fight the lean, is protesting in some way by not handling as well. And then, of course, we roll on just a little bit. All right, so we roll on, and then as we motor through the corner, we see the exit, right? And then you can roll on more and you got to straighten out those bars. This one's a tough one, and you will see the MSF's basic outline in here: slow, look, press, roll. But I sort of added a few things myself in there. When I took the class, it was slow, lean, press, roll. I don't know if you took it 10 years ago, but just remember, that's all it is. Every time you go out there and you ride corners, slow, look, press, roll. If you're scared in a corner, you didn't do something here. You looked wide.
Went in too hot.
You went in too fast. You were daydreaming when you went into the corner, something like that.
Target fixation.
Now let me ask you a question. What's more fun? Scared rolling off and breaking in the corner, or rolling on, pulling out?
Rolling on, pulling out.
That's the joy of this thing, unless you're a drag racer.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the do not brake in corner is a counterintuitive thing from driving your car. You're just used to, oh, if I'm in trouble, I put on the brakes.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
if you're in a corner and you're in trouble, put on the brakes, you're in more trouble.
And I'll just
And then
More throttle,
to
less
like
I'll go off
tell
the
yourself,
bushes.
yeah,
tangent a little bit. The ARC class, based on sport bike riding techniques by Nick Ianich, you practice braking in the corner. I mean, there's several exercises where he says you're cornering, you apply brake, and
Only the back brake.
well, he says both. I tried both, and the front still terrified me. But the rear brake, again, if, like I said, if you're here and you know, to get here isn't braking in a corner. Get through here not braking in a corner, and then maybe go to that point, okay? But yes, and again, nothing here is gospel. You know, if you modify if you must, right?
What's that other book, John?
Yeah, go ahead.
Prolific Motorcycling, David Hugh, I think it is.
What's that?
proficient.
Proficient motorcycling, David Huff, yeah.
I just picked that up, and by far better than that Keith Code book by a long shot.
It's the first book a motorcyclist should buy after they get their license.
I wish I would have picked it up.
Proficient Motorcycling by David Huff. You can get it from the library.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I don't mean to change it, but have you ever seen any specs on the accident rate, say in, I don't know, it's France or Germany, where you cannot buy anything more than a 100cc motorcycle, your first one, and you have to have it for like a year before you're able to buy a larger one? Have you ever seen any specs
I'm
on that?
familiar with the graduated licensing there. I don't have an answer for you on that.
All right.
I don't have an answer. I mean, logically,
Because what's happened here is that 16-year-old can buy a 250 Ninja that goes from 0 to 103 seconds.
yeah, without, yeah.
And that's what's making the accident rate increase for all the motorcycles in the United States.
It's funny you say that. I mean, there is no right or wrong. You know, it's like if you take a class, you're less likely to crash. If you're your first year of riding, you're likely to crash. So what is it? I took a course, but I just started. So am I going to crash because I am new? But if I'm new and so statistics are really hard. Again, Brooks just gave me this, which says that if you're in a state that's mandatory training, it says they have 10% greater crash rates. So you got probably some clowns that don't really want to take the class. They have to, and I don't know why. What are they learning in this class that they're crashing more? But again, you can make statistics go different directions. I would say if it was my kid, I would never want to see him on a Hayabusa. Okay, probably never, ever, ever, never, never until he was like 40. Okay, but we don't live in those. I mean, hey, they just repealed the helmet law in Michigan. I mean, you think that this country's going to say we got to make 16-year-olds only buy 250s? I can't see it getting past the, but we could go down that road. But you're right. I think graduated licensing is a motorcycle safety professional, if you will. I would fully back a graduated licensing thing for newbies to be on a 250 or 500, something reasonable, we just had a kid die on Route 19, 28 years old. He was new to riding, permitted only, I do believe. Why couldn't we have gotten to that kid? 28 years old. How could we have stopped that from happening?
We knew more than you.
That's what, again, it's,
That's probably why the accident rate's higher where it's mandatory, because once they're done, they go, oh, I know everything.
Yeah, exactly. You know, when,
Knowledge is dangerous.
Yeah,
So-
a little bit of knowledge is dangerous.
let's, Sergey, how you doing, bud? Pick one of these.